Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, because Commander's number one. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel. I've got Sherman with me. Sherman, how you doing?
I am tired.
I feel that.
We- yeah, like as you guys heard from last episode, I finally went on vacation. I normally go on vacation once a year, forced to by my boss. And when I came back, first off, we encountered a huge hailstorm that occurred here. Things are the size of golf balls, and then I also had construction this whole week in front of my house or like next to my house pretty much for the road. So it's going on like till like 4 in the morning. They're like honking to like tell each other to move forward or move backwards and stuff like that. And it's not done yet.
So just a tiring vacation.
Yeah.
Yet
So but
that hail out here was pretty crazy, to be honest.
yeah, it was crazy. Like Brian's he lives close by and he showed me a picture of his car and the windows smashed in the back and his car's all dented.
Yeah, a bunch
And
of
he got that.
that side of the city's just so bad for it. Over here, my lawn was wet, but over there,
Yeah.
like the other side, it looked like a war zone. Like you guys, it was smashed out cars, smashed up houses.
Oh yeah. So it is what it is. But other than that, Daniel, you are
Yeah,
doing.
I'm injured. I'm not doing wonderful. Um, my I have new decorations in the back of my screen for anyone watching on YouTube. Those are crutches. I've really injured my leg. I keep laughing about the meme you see all the time, but I hurt my leg really badly, and I was just telling my wife like I was telling her to stop being silly because I was in too much pain, and she's just like, "Yeah, not now, kitten. Daddy's in immense pain from his leg being broken." It was it was a good time, but yeah. So I've hurt myself. I'm other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I never take like any time off work, and I had
Yeah.
to tell work I was like, I I can't stand on my leg, and they're just like, oh, when can you when do you think you'll be able to? I was like, I don't know. So at a certain point, I'm gonna have to go hobble on down and actually get them to X-ray my leg. It's not doing wonderful, but I've got crutches for the moment, so we're good. We can move again, and that's pretty much what's going on with me.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair.
That's pretty much it. Nothing much changes except for the condition of my bones, apparently.
Yeah.
Haha, this
Getting old.
the list actually kind of goes along with that. That's me when I'm being silly. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
this week we talked a lot about different commanders, and out of everyone I know, I like Sherman's silly building, and nothing said silly building like this commander.
Yeah. So let's get into it here. The commander we're talking about is Flubs the Fool. So Flubs the Fool is going to be a green, blue, red for a 0/5 Frog Scout. Now, its ability is kind of crazy because you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, you draw a card if you have no cards in hand. Otherwise, you discard a card.
It's
So,
it's
yeah,
very it's such a strange build path. I say all the time when we're looking at stuff like this that it's really cool to see the card artwork up close like this when we look at them on the big screen. And
yeah,
I didn't even notice that he was holding the big dandelion and stuff and the little ant
yeah,
there.
he's tiny.
Yeah, it's I just really like the concept of the card of you want to for once you want to be hellbent, you can play your extra lands and you
Yeah,
want to discard stuff. It seems like just such a fun build path. These were really hard to pull. There's like not very many of them. Or
yeah,
uh,
they're
or is this
very
the buy a
very rare.
box?
Yeah,
Well,
but
maybe.
like I have to start off with explaining one thing about this deck. Well, a few things actually. Like first off, like you guys know, I normally do a budget. I did not do a budget deck for this one. There's a reason why, and that's because the moment you start trying to build a budget deck, you start actually going into CEDH territory. I kid you not. It's weird.
Oh, because probably because like all of the budget thing is like manipulating the top deck to get your combo and throwing things out and
Not even. It's like the first thing you think of is like trying to play as much as you can. So you're gonna like most people like go on either like eggs. So like your Memnite, Ornithopter, Phyrexian Walker, Shield of Safety, stuff like that. Like things that are zero cost,
yep.
right? And you're just burning through your deck until you get like a Thassa's Oracle or something like that.
Oh yeah, I guess because yeah, nothing stops you from just dropping zero cost artifacts on the field and being like bang 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 bang, I draw 70 cards, Oracle.
Yeah. So that's the reason why, like, though, like when you kind of try to do a budget, you kind of tend to naturally go in that direction. So to make this deck more fair, you actually have to raise the budget.
I like that. Flubs King of Cheerios would be a fun way to sit down at the CEDH table with Flubs and win a game would be really funny.
Yeah. So that it's really really weird because of that. So like I went like my budget's not that bad. It's still like it's $313 pretty much. It's still not bad.
Hmm.
It's it's like your average deck.
I saw one thing like one. I think we're really good in line. I was looking at like from like just I sometimes look at the Reddits and I was looking at some of the complaints people have and they're just like I hate when people are like saying that like a budget deck is like $300 and stuff. They're like that's like my groceries for the month and I'm like okay well yeah we're not saying like when we're saying a budget we're saying like 90 bucks or under, you know, like we build a lot of pretty cheap silly decks.
Yeah.
But again, $300 isn't crazy for a functional one, right? Like it's the I'd say that's pretty standard-ish, give or take. If you've got any of the kind of a little higher power cards, there's a lot of $20 cards that exist in Magic. So
Yeah. So like when you look at most decks, in all honesty, okay, that you try to make like a decent power level, like not too high power but not too low. Most decks are between 200 to 350, pushing 400.
well, I
Okay.
was I was gonna say too, especially with I haven't looked through the deck list yet, but the if you staple, you can play an additional land on each of your turns and draw on lands. I'm probably putting like a lot of the extra land cards in here so that I can keep that draw going, like that train of like give me another card gambling, right?
Exactly. And
So
that's the direction we're trying to go into it for this deck.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Where do
So
where do you want to start off? Do you want to look at artifacts first or
no, I actually want to leave artifacts for last
okay?
because there is a surprise there for everyone. So let's start off with creatures.
Creatures? All right. Let me
Yeah.
pull up our creatures here. Okay.
So
I'll start us off here. So we have our Aftermath Analyst. One in a green for a 1/3 elf detective. When it enters, you mill three. And then you can pay three in a green, return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I love those things. It's what's the merfolk one that does it when it dies?
World Shaper.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
problem with World Shaper is you gotta kill the World Shaper, right? This
Yeah.
is kind of
And
nice that you can sack it itself.
yeah. So this one's like you can time it, which is easier. So and I have no sack outlets in this deck, so this actually helps.
I like it.
Yeah. So the next card we have is Ambassadors. I'm sorry, Ambassador Laquatis. One day I'm just going to choose a bunch of cards that I can actually read. So it's one double blue Merfolk. It's a legendary Merfolk. It's weird because it says creature Merfolk legend. So
Yeah.
weird. It's a 1/3, and you can pay 3 mana, and target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So this allows us to mill ourselves or mill other people, and we're focused on trying to put out as much land as we can onto the battlefield. So this is a nice mana sink for us.
I was gonna say that's in any land-based deck, that's a pretty absurd thing to have extra lands to do.
Yeah.
You know,
So
just
and three a
even if
lot.
even you tap 15 kind of thing, right? And that's a lot of cards to dump into someone's grave. You can
Oh
really
yeah.
and it also gives you top deck control, which I do like. A lot of people do tutor the top of libraries.
Hmm. So it's really nice for that. So especially yeah, like you said, like people will tutor, and it's like okay, well you tutor, I'm just gonna tap three because they forget that you can like instant mill,
Oh yeah.
and then the card they tutor for is just gone.
This it's fun too because you can commander players are generally greedy. So a lot of
Yeah,
times they want to like if you do something that tucks a commander like to the top of library, a lot of times people don't want to pay the tax. I'll just draw it next turn. Who cares, right? So
yeah,
you tuck it or you put it on top and then convince them like it's fine. You can don't worry. You can get it back next turn and then you ambassador Laquidus and mill it to the grave.
so
Hilarious.
much fun. Yeah. Before we continue, one thing I want to note for this commander, you're not playing this commander on curve. You need setup first. So he's going to come out on like turn 6, turn 7.
That is true.
Let's
Yeah.
just
If you dump it turn
yeah,
3, you're just hurting yourself with everything in your current
yeah,
hand.
100%. So yeah, go on for the next card here, Daniel.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I guess because you want to be basically hellbent, no hands in card or no cards in hand.
Yeah,
Once you get this out, you don't want to fool around and have like a mitt full of the things you want to play and have to discard them.
yeah, exactly.
So we have Ancient Green Warden, land Harmonicon itself. 4 double green for 5/7 elemental with reach. You can play lands from your graveyard, which is awesome. If a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's tricky because it's if you have Flubs to full out, it's going to trigger it twice. So you're drawing a card and then discarding the card.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah, so it's Flubs
Yeah,
Flubs has a double trigger, so let me scroll back up to Flubs because it wouldn't put two whenever you play a land, draw a card if you have no cards in hand, otherwise discard a card. Yeah, that's twice. So that is a draw and discard.
yeah. So this one is tricky because of that. But all we care about is the fact that we can play lands from the graveyard because the more we fill up the graveyard, the more likely we can play our lands from the graveyard to draw into things.
Well, and worst case too, right? If we're drawing and doing that, we can throw the land away knowing we can get it back.
Yeah, exactly. So the next one we have is Ant Queen for 3 double green. It's an insect that's a 5/5. You tap 1 in the green and you create a 1/1 green insect creature token. I'm so happy they reprinted this in Bloomburrow.
They printed with such cool looking artwork too.
Oh, it's so sweet. I want this so bad.
Ant Queen's always been one of my favorite mana sinks though. Like the 2 mana make blockers, make aggro attackers, and again, like if you have a ton of land out, right? If you're a land based deck, it's gonna work.
Yeah, 100%.
Also, 5/5 at 5 that spits out tokens isn't horrible.
It's pretty good, and like you can get this out fairly easily just because once again, like we're trying to dump as much land as we can onto the battlefield and just abuse the fact that we have a lot of land.
Yep. We have our Augur of Autumn, 1 double green for Human Druid, 2/3. You can look at the top card of your library anytime. You can play lands from the top card of your library, and it has Coven. As long as you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may cast creature spells from the top. So that's also pretty good.
Yeah. So this helps us when we have things like the Ancient Green Warden out. So sure, we're drawing and discarding with because Flubs is out, but this allows us to play on the top of our library. So hopefully
A little, yeah, a
that
little
allows us
knowledge.
to, yeah. So, and then we have your traditional Avenger of Zendikar for 5 double green. It's an elemental that's a 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control. And then it has Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature you control. So everyone knows this is going to be one of the game enders for us.
Oh yeah, and especially on a you can play 2 lands, and you've already got a theme of play from the graveyard too, right? So
Yeah,
anything that can fetch a land, just crack, 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 crack.
yeah, 100%.
Huge, huge 0/1 green plants.
Yeah,
They turn into 9/10s real fast. You've got an Azusa, Lost but Seeking. 2 and a green for a 1/2 human monk. You can play 2 additional lands on each of your turn.
yeah. Very key, very important. So, and then the next one, we also have the Courser of Krufix for 1 double green. That elemental creature centaur for a 2/4. you play with the top card of your library revealed. Okay, revealed, not actually playing it or casting spells. You may play the top card of your library if it is a land, and whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life.
Good way to
So
catch back up too.
yeah, the gain life is the important thing here. So everyone, please, like the fact that you may play the lands on top of your library, dope, okay. But Flubs doesn't really make us care. We just care about the life game, to be honest, because like once people see us going off, we need that extra life because they're coming after us.
Yeah, I can see that being a bit of a problem when when they're seeing how many lands you're spitting out.
Yeah,
We also have Dryad. It's very fun to see this. You're not really a landfall player, you know, like you don't really go that direction a lot of times. So it's really fun to see, like to see a landfall based deck for you because you normally play on like on a whatever like a pretty like you build silly decks, budget decks that they work and stuff, right? But I've only seen you
yeah,
play one land based deck before, and that was your Scry Galadriel deck, and
yeah.
that had a lot of land. That was a
And that
problem.
wasn't even landfall.
No, and that wasn't landfall. So it's very fun to see this direction from you. We've got our Dryad of
It,
Elysian Grove. I would. Do you have a Valakut in here?
Valakut, no, I do not.
Ooh, Valakut could work. Dryad of the
Oh,
Elysian.
it can work. Yeah, like I didn't put it in Valakut, because I wanted to throw in a different win con
Okay.
than Valakut. Like we have a few win cons here, like Avengers, one of them. Valakut would be another one, but like I don't have enough mountains in here.
Well, but that's what this does. It turns all your lands into mountains.
That's true. But like once again, like
But I
you
guess
know me,
you're
I don't
playing it
like
on one card, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Fair, fair.
So
So our Dryad of Elysian Grove, 2 and a green. You play an additional land on each of your turns, which is again what we're going for. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their types, and it's a 2/4. And I love this
yeah,
artwork of Dryad.
yeah. This new artwork is fantastic. Like the old one was like decent, but this new one's way better.
Yeah, it's really cool. And every time you see this like foiled out,
Oh,
so
oh,
sparkly.
so beautiful. Yeah.
What is this one even
Um,
from?
this one's
The
from the
modern
new
MH3 commanders, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
collector
so
packs.
yeah. Oh man, they're so expensive. We have the Eternal Witness for 1 double green. Human Shaman. It's a 2/1, and when it enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Important, just because we need that graveyard recursion of some sort.
Yeah. The ability to get things when you're discarding kind of doesn't matter if you can just
Yeah,
focus on getting them back. The same with the next one. Another really you never see this card played for how good it is. You would think you would see it more. Genesis.
yeah,
It's 4 and a green for a 4/4 incarnation creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it's in your grave, which you could just discard it there, which is where you'd want it to be. You can pay 2 and a green. If you do, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. That's awesome.
yeah. It's fantastic, and reason why you don't see it often is just because 3 mana now is a lot harder to justify because the format has gotten faster.
So much power in everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because now you're like whatever, like let's say you have the Eternal Witness in your graveyard. So with Genesis, it's basically saying that Eternal Witness now costs 6.
Yeah. True.
So, but the next card we have here is Glissa Sunseeker for 2 double green. It's an elf legend for 3/2. It has first strike. And you can tap it to destroy target artifact if its converted mana cost is equal to the amount of mana in your mana pool.
So anyone in this deck because you're gonna have a lot.
Yeah, so like it's a weird card because you have to tap your lands or whatever to have mana in your mana pool and then destroy something and then use it.
Yeah, it's a fun sequence.
Yeah.
I love Glissa. I had a Glissa deck for a while, and then I turned it into Omnoth because everybody knew I was going anti-artifact when it was Glissa. So I just turned it
Eh,
into Omnoth, and I pretend it's not, but it's all artifact hate.
Oh yeah. So and we need a repeatable destruction for things because the way the Flubs is, you're not going to really have counter spells
Oh yeah, you don't
in
have
your
anything in
hand,
your hand.
or
Yeah,
yeah, because you're just discarding. So like by the time you want to use it, you have to target something or discard it, and you're going to make enemies that way. So we're avoiding that by having repeatable removal in the battle or on the battlefield.
I like it. I like that you think so much more about your decks than I do. I'm just like, haha, nice. I just Oonga Boonga caveman build. You think ahead. We've got our Jaddy Offshoot, a 0/3 plant for 1 green mana with Defender. Whenever land enters under your control, you gain a life.
We need that life game. We need that life game so bad.
Oh, it builds up so fast when you get the good life gain triggers.
Yeah. The same thing with this next one is Kazandu Nectar Pod for 1 and a green. It's an insect. It's a 1/3 and has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. We just need that land, or we need that life.
I like that it fits in that Ant Queen art theme so well with like the big green like bulbous.
Yeah,
It's very cool.
that,
I really like the nectar pod's great.
yeah, this giant thorax.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the one I was thinking. I didn't know the word. I didn't know the word at all. We've got Mina and Den Wildborn. 2/1 1 red 1 green for an elf ally 4/4. You can play an additional land on each of your turns. 1 in the green, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Target creature gains trample. That is also really good to be able to just keep recurring our landfall if we want. If we got no lands in
Yeah,
hand and we want to, because your commander's drawing, right? So this is giving you the
yeah.
ability to, at a minimum, draw 3 a turn if you've got the land to go because you can just dump mana in.
And that's the thing. Like at a certain point in time, we're gonna be like, okay, if Flubs is out and we have nothing in our hand and we can't play any more lands from like we have no ability to play lands from the graveyard or from the top of our library. This allows us to return a land to our hand, dump it, and then trigger Flubs again. So
Yeah,
we're getting that card draw.
it's interesting to see Mina and Den used as like a draw engine. I like that.
It's weird, but that is an option, and that's the key.
Yeah.
So the next one we have can also be a Nether Wincon, and that's Omnath Locus of Rage. For 3 double red, double green, legendary creature Elemental. It's a 5/5 and has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token. Whenever Omnath Locus of Rage or another elemental you control dies, Omnath deals 3 damage to any target.
That 5/5 landfall's problematic. That's
Yeah,
I could openly say it's a bit of a problem.
it's a little bit of a
And
problem.
then
And then, like,
killing Omnoth is a problem. Board wiping
yeah,
that is out of the question.
yeah. So you're trying to make it difficult for people to interact with your board, and they have to like hold back, and they're not going to attack each other because you will be the problem, but at the same time, like since they're the problem and they're holding back, the moment it gets to your turn, you're just landfall, landfall, landfall. Like you're playing like 3, 4, 5 lands during your turn.
Yeah, that
So
Omnoth gets
it's
out of
stupid.
control fast.
Yeah.
It's big mana, but big mana's got to have big payoffs, right?
Oh, hands down, 100%.
We've also got our Oracle of Moldiah, a 2/2 elf shaman, 3 and a green. You can play an additional land on your turn. I wonder what's your max additional lands you can play. We'll have to count it at the end. I like that. Just what's the most you can strip mine someone in a turn if you want to hate them. So it's like I said, a 2/2 that lets you play an additional land, top card revealed, and you can play lands from the top. Again, it's nice to
Yeah.
know what you're going to draw into before you start wildly throwing things away.
Yes, 100%. So the next one we have is Rampaging Balofs for 4 double green. It's a beast. That's a 6/6. It has trample. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token.
Also a problem.
Also a problem. Also a big problem.
Any deck that you can end up having 5 or 6 lands enter the battlefield that are making 4/4s, 5/5s, pumping plants, like it gets You see it every time, and you always think, "Meh, I know that card. It's all right." It's no, it's a problem every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good land to have. We've got our Ramanap Excavator, 2 and a green. You can play lands from your graveyard for a 2/3 Naga Cleric.
Yeah.
Again, makes it so
Fantastic card.
yeah, you can recur your lands. You can play the things you throw away. Easy.
Yeah. Next card here is a card I personally hate, but I had to throw it in just because it is a really, really hard win con for people to get around, and that's Royal Elemental. So 3 triple blue. Elemental, 3/2. It has flying, but it also has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain control of target creature for as long as you control the Royal Elemental.
Also not nice.
Yeah. So this is a win con because like if you still have if you're still fixing on 3 people, you can steal all the creatures from 2 players because you might have like 4 or 5 landfall triggers, and then you focus fire on the last person so that you keep everything. So everyone's defenseless. One person's dead, and you're winning.
Mean, but
You are
funny.
the problem with this deck.
Yeah, mean but funny. We've got our
I hate
Sakura.
this card so much.
We have our Sakura tribe, 1 and a green for a 1/1 Snake Shaman. Sack it, search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Again, just early mana fix. Good card always. And with how much
Yeah,
recursion you have from the grave, pretty decent to be able to keep dumping it and searching for lands if you want them.
yeah. And the best part about this one is that even late game, it's still useful just because you get that landfall trigger.
It's always still a good blocker exactly for you. And like you said, you need answers on the field, and the fact that you can sack this at someone else's turn to Royal Elemental take a problem card.
Yeah,
I
it's
like it.
helpful. Next card we have here is Scoot Swarm for 2 and a green. It's an insect. That's a 1/1. It has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead.
Yeah.
It's always been a problem. So
Yeah, Scoot Swarm is you don't want to leave Scoot Swarm alone. You want to get rid of that.
100%.
We have our Skola Grove Dancer, 1 and a green for a 2/2 Satyr Druid. Whenever lands put into your graveyard from anywhere, you gain a life, which is another interesting way to get, like I said, any of our tutors and stuff. And then you can pay 2 and a green, put the top card of your library into your graveyard, so you can self mill
Yeah,
pretty easy.
yeah. So top deck manipulation, just because from time to time we will see the top card of our library, so that's helpful. We're still gaining life, which is also the another thing that's very helpful here. So, and we also have stuff. We also have lands from going from the battlefield to the graveyard constantly, so we're gaining life as well.
I
The
like
next
it.
one, I'm really, really, really happy they reprinted in Modern Horizons 3 because it dropped the price so much.
Oh, it was
That's
like 13
crazy.
bucks for so long.
Yeah, and now it's like if you look at the price now, it's like 230 according
Yeah.
to Architect here. Yeah. So it's Sylvan Safekeeper for a single green. Human Wizard, 1/1. You sacrifice a land. Target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn. This is so strong in this deck.
Yeah. That's well, yeah, because you can get lands back so easy, and Shroud sucks to go against.
Yeah. So people try to do, like I said, people are gonna, you're the problem. You will be the problem. Okay. People are gonna try to remove your stuff. Okay. If they board wipe and you have things like Omnath out, you're pretty much taking someone out. If they try to single target things, you have like things like Sylvan Safekeeper to give it Shroud, and then they can't do anything about it. Like it's a very very hard deck to interact with once you
Normally,
get the key pieces out.
normally there's like a downside of throwing your lands away. It sucks.
Yeah.
But again, your whole deck is recurring lands and playing lands. Like throwing a land away doesn't matter. Do that all day.
No, we don't care. Yeah.
A really nice thing too is like even even looking at things that you can already do. Like nothing stops you from Sylvan safekeeping, sacking all your lands when you want to bring it back with like that first card, the pay 3 and a green and sack from the Karlov one and bring all your lands back, right?
Yeah,
Get
the
a
analyst.
Yeah, exactly. You can get just so many landfall triggers doing things that way.
Yeah, all good, Daniel.
Oh yeah, no, I'm waiting for you. Oh no, it is me. That's why I was like, yeah, I'm waiting for you to do the next one. Reality chip is the next one. I'm totally awake, guys. It's fine. I've got some real painkillers. I'm awfully smiley. Reality chip, 1 and a blue for a 0/4 equipment jellyfish, legendary artifact creature, which again gives us our top deck knowledge. You can top card at any time. As long as it's attached to a creature, you can play lands and cast spells from the top. And it has reconfigure, so that's like equip if it's a creature. But 2 and a blue, and you attach it to a creature you control or unattach it. It's nice that it gives you that option.
Yeah, and you can only do that as sorcery, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is once again so good. So the next one we have here is Tireless Provisioner for 2 and a green, Elf Scout, 3/2, Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, create a food token or a treasure token. More than likely, we're actually gonna choose food.
Oh yeah, I guess that life gain. Yeah, you don't really need the mana, so
No, because we're gonna have so many lands out. Like you, early game, yes, you will create your treasures. Okay, treasures is always good. It's a nice default. But to be honest, I find you're gonna actually go for food more often.
yeah.
You don't need extra mana.
Yeah, that's you're just stacking treasure tokens for nothing at this point if you got so much mana sitting around.
Yeah, exactly. So you might as well just go for the food and gain the life instead.
Right. We have our Titania, Protector of Argoth. 3 double green for a 5/3 elemental. When it enters the battlefield, return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield. Useful. And whenever a land you control is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you create a 5/3 elemental creature token. Again, big elementals.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. So like we have elementals that are helping each other. It's not an elemental theme, it's landfall theme and land graveyard theme, but at the same time, it's just partial synergy, which is nice.
True.
So the next one we have here, we're almost done with creatures. There's a lot of creatures here. So we have Vizier of the Menagerie for 3 and a green. Naga Cleric, 3/4. You may look at the top card of your library. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a creature card. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast creature spells. Very useful here.
Yeah. I like it. And then we round our creature section off with Wayward Swordtooth. A 5/5 for 3 and or 2 and a green, sorry. It has Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing. Play an additional land on each turn, great. And it can't attack or block unless you have the city's blessing. But again, this is generally speaking just going to be an extra land drop trigger. That's what we care about.
Exactly, 100%. So we just care about putting down as many lands as we can as fast as we can. Because the moment we reach a certain threshold, our commander's coming out and we're just going off on it. We don't care.
Yep. What section do you want to hit next here?
We can hit anything: planeswalkers, enchantments, instant sorceries, whatever's next on your side.
Yeah, let's roll down to enchantments, I guess, then.
All right. So enchantments. I guess I will start it off here. So we have a great card from Murdoch Markov Manor. This is Case of the Locked Hot House for 3 and green. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. To solve, you control 7 or more lands. And once it's solved, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands and cast creature and enchantment spells from the top of your library. This is a huge card in this deck.
That's a really
Huge.
good card, yeah.
Yeah. Like you will solve this easily.
Well, the other thing, too, is we had, I think, almost 30 cards in the creature section, 11 enchantments, and then your land base. Like, this is hitting the majority of your deck once it's solved.
Yeah. So it's hitting like 60-ish percent, like pushing 70% of your deck.
I'm just looking at flubs here quick. whenever you play, it's not from hand too. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, you can play that from anywhere.
Yeah, so you don't care. As long as you're playing a land, you don't care.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
We've got our Dictate of Crewfix next. A 1 double blue flash enchantment. Beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. We've got some group hug, and you know I love it.
yeah, this is just early. Hopefully, people will leave us alone for a bit because they get their card draw, so they're trying to draw into their answers. But in all honesty, it's a false hope.
True.
You're trying to give them hope, but it's false hope because you don't care what they draw.
They'll draw to nothing.
Yeah, you have recursion, you have and you're just pumping out stuff that if they do anything with your board, there's a good chance that they will receive repercussions every single time.
With the ability to play like 4 or 5 lands, even with flubs out and just even playing 2 lands a turn, you're a lot of times outvaluing everyone, right? Like you're gonna have so much more mana available, and those lands being a draw engine, like them getting their 1 extra card doesn't really matter, right? Like you're just gonna be out accelerating them.
Yeah. So even if they have 7 cards, or let's say they have no maximum hand size, even if they have 13, 14 cards in their hand, if they have only 7, 8 mana, there's only so much they can do. And you have 15 mana, you can just pump out stuff and rebuild quickly, and there's no stopping you. That's why things like Dictate of Crewfix, where you're giving them extra draw, does not matter. It matters for you because they're going through your deck faster, and sure, you might discard that card because of flubs, but in the end, you don't care. You want to turn through your deck as fast as you can.
Yeah.
So the next card we have here is Elven Chorus for 3 and a green. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library, and creatures you control have tap to add 1 mana of any color.
That's such a powerhouse card.
And we have mana sinks in our deck too.
Mm-hmm. Well, it just that creature's tapping for any color is just nuts. No restriction on what or how you can spend it. No restriction on non-token. Just straight gas.
Yeah, and that's the key here. Is straight gas. So you have things like even Anqueen feeds itself. Okay, you have Avenger of Zendikar, where everything taps for mana. You have the Omnath that creates the elementals for you. You have the Titania that creates that stuff for you. You have the Scoot Swarm. You have so many things that will generate mana for you just from this. And once again, we're just abusing the fact that we have so much mana. We're not infinite, but we have a lot of mana.
Yeah. I like it. We also have an exploration. 1 green, you can play an additional land on each of your turns. Again, the most thematic card you could put in here, I would say. Like you gotta have it.
Yeah. And then we have Future Sight for 2 triple blue. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library.
The artwork on this card, when you look at it blown up like that every time, the skulls with the sun and the moon, the little baby growing, the plant growing at the same time, the cross, every part of this card blown up, I'm like, there's something new for me to see. I'm like, oh wow, this is a lot. It's a really cool card.
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
I love the flavor text of it. Is the inevitable any less miraculous? It's just, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I'm not a fan of the next card because it always gets played on me every time. It's Imprison in the Moon. 2 and a blue. It's an enchantment aura. Enchant creature, land, or planeswalker. Enchanted permanent is a colorless land with tap to add 1 colorless and loses all other card types and abilities.
Yeah. We need some removal. So, and I decided not to go with an instant or sorcery route for that. I decided to do more things that are more permanent.
Yep.
So, the next card we have here is sorry.
Oh, it's fair. It hurts.
Yeah, it hurts, but it's kind of fair. The next card we have here is Rites of Flourishing for 2 and a green. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Each player may play an additional land on each of their turns.
It's group hug. We're friends. We're buddies.
Yeah, just let me play my lands. It's okay. Like my commander's not out yet. Like all my landfall triggers are just like for me to gain life. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I like the of a lot of these early like could be construed as you being nice cards.
Yeah,
The
because
deck
that's
screw
the
plug
thing. You
adjacent.
want Yeah, you want to be nice. Okay, you're trying to be nice. You are the problem regardless. I will say that hands down every single time. You are the problem regardless with this deck. Okay, you're just trying to ease it in. Be like, okay, guys, I'm doing all this. Just leave me alone. You guys know I'm the problem, but I'm only the problem late game. Early game, I'm your friend. Leave me alone.
Right. You have Spawning Grounds, 6 double green, Enchantland, and Enchantland has tap, create a 5/5 green beast with trample.
We have so many lands, we don't care.
Yeah, you've got so much. The fact that you can turn some of your lands into creature generation, like with this and the next one, is pretty good because yeah, again, you don't have you having something to do with your lands is easy.
Yeah, another thing. The next one is Tarmogoyf Nest for 2 and a green. It's a kindred enchantment, Lurgoyf Aura, which is such a mouthful.
Yep,
Enchant land, and enchanted land has tap 1 and a green, and you tap it. Create a Tarmogoyf token.
I'm
That's
in.
pretty big.
I'm interested. Yep.
Yeah.
We have an Undergrowth Recon, 1 double green. Beginning of your upkeep, return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Another, I like that card a lot actually.
Yeah. Great card. Great card in this.
Really
So
interesting
I
art on
remember,
it too.
yeah. And I remember people were like in the comments before when this was spoiled back in the day. People were like, it was very mixed. Some people said like, "Oh, this is a great card." Other people were like, "It shouldn't be a mythic. It should be a rare." Blah 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 blah.
The
But
the
either
ability to
way,
keep
again,
bringing lands back, yeah, is land recursions, land
yeah,
recursion. It's good.
yeah. So and then our last card here for enchantments is Zendikar's Royal for 3 double green. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you create a 2/2 green elemental creature token.
Yeah.
So once again, we're just making more creatures with every time we have a land. We have chances where like these are all elementals, so a chance where this and Omnath is gonna hit people for 3 damage. You can even talk to people and be like, okay, I have these 2/2s, you have these 4/4s. Like player 3 is the problem. Let me attack you with these 2/2s. You block them and kill them, and then I'll deal all that 3 damage to the person's face. Things like that. Like you can politic with this quite a bit.
Like you said, the fact that there's so much like elemental synergy in here is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just coincidental. I didn't do this on purpose.
Let's hit some of your instants here. We start off with a Beast Within, 2 and a green. You destroy target permanent. Its controller gets a 3/3 green beast. It's just good
Yeah,
removal.
just good removal. And in all honesty, there's a chance that you could use this on yourself because a 3/3 beast, and if you don't want to anger anyone, yeah. So,
True.
um, the next card we have here is Entish Restoration for 2 and a green. Sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle.
It's wild to think, like, because you got to remember, nearly every one of these cards is also a draw engine in this deck,
Yeah,
right? Like with your commander out, nearly every one of them is still you just power drawing cards.
I like my card draw.
I also any commander that has card draw, even if it's looting card draw, I'm into.
Yeah,
So we have a frantic search, 2 and a blue. You draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, untap 3 lands. So basically, a free card to look for things to play.
yeah. So and then like once again, like more than likely you're discarding lands and keeping the spells.
Mm-hmm.
So next card here we have here is Crossing Grip for 2 and a green. Split second, and it has destroy target artifact or enchantment. Very useful.
Honestly, I'm still blown away that it's just not in more decks. It's like one of the best pieces of removal. That split second is crucial.
It's devastating. It's devastating at times.
Mm-hmm. I hope they do another cycle of split second. I actually really like split second.
That would be fun.
Yeah. And then we end our instance here with a pull from tomorrow. Two double blue. You draw X cards, then discard a card. Yeah.
Yeah. Just in case we still don't have Flubs to full out, or it's late game and we need to redraw like a bunch of stuff or rebuild our hand. It's just nice and useful for that.
In our land section, I really like that you've gone so hard into landfall and not had to just be like, you know what, we're doing Field of the Dead, we're doing blah blah blah. Where it's kind of nice to see
Yeah.
just a nice
So
little
with
budget land section, a good place for it.
yeah, like I've kept on thinking about putting in Field of the Dead. Like first off, it's a $50 card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's expensive. I don't like the fact that it's $50, but at the same time, if you can't afford it, you can always go to Abyss Proxy Shop.
Best proxy shop,
Code
dude.
IT99.
It is a good place. Yep.
Yeah, get 15% off, and they do have a Field of the Dead proxy. So
True. It's just like you normally see like a landfall list, and it's every one of the you got an Urborg, you got a Cabal coffers. Like the land base pushes the list up to $600. You know.
yeah, but
But
this is like under $10.
yeah, I like it. It's just your basic like brokers hideouts, Karabetti courtyards where they enter. You get your life gain on the enter, which is nice, and then your search.
Yeah,
I like stuff like that. I like that
yeah.
you have your
So and
artifact. Like you've got a few. You have tools here, right?
yeah,
Returning artifacts,
that's
returning drowned temple.
that's all you care about is just the fact that they are actual utilities.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So one thing about the lands, you need to keep track of how many basics you have on the battlefield. So you have 29, just slightly just shy of 30. So you have 29. You need to remember that.
Yeah, I guess you got so many things that tutor basics.
Yeah, and that's the reason why. So you actually have to remember that.
Yeah. We have in our
So now we're
planeswalker section too. Oh, sorry.
no. Let's go on to Planeswalkers. So I was just gonna say we only have 3 sections left.
Yeah, we're close here. You have
Yeah,
my favorite planeswalker. It's Freyalise. I love Freyalise. I have like 5 Freyalise decks. Can't stop building it. It's so good. It's got everything I want. It has destruction, draw, and creatures on it, and ramp. Great.
yeah,
Freyalise is a 3 double green for a legendary planeswalker. Freyalise, 3 starting loyalty. Its +2 makes you Llanowar Elves, basically. You create a 1/1 green elf druid with tapped add a green. Love it. Its -2, destroy target artifact or enchantment, which is great. And its -6 is draw a card for each green creature you control, and it can be your commander.
yeah.
That's a big draw
So
in a deck that's got like Scoot Swarms, Avengers. Yeah, it's a lot of draw.
oh yeah, it's huge. So like, and that's the thing. Like, if people leave it alone, like you don't care that you're discarding because you're just once again, if you draw like let's say 12 cards from all the green creatures you have, all right, you're still discarding the lands because you have Graveyard Recursion. You don't care,
Mm-hmm.
right? We want Freyalise for early on mana dorks, and then later on the once again the repeatable destruction of things.
Yeah, I think it's a good planeswalker choice, and it also ramps you to play anything you're drawing.
Yeah. So let's go on to sorceries. And let's start off here with a collective voyage for a single green. Join forces. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player searches his or her land for up to X basic land cards, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle his or her library. Truth be told, when you when you cast this, the most you will pay is 1. More than likely, that's all you will pay. Once again, it's 1 because you have so much basic land searches, you don't care. You want everyone else to put into it for you instead.
Well, and the other thing too is right, we're triggering landfalls with even just that one and a draw a lot of the time.
Yeah. So late game, this is very useful because like I said, you have 29 basic lands. when you count them up, you can be like, okay, late game collective voyage. Okay, I have like six basic lands left. Okay, I will put in like four. Okay, so now I guaranteed four landfall triggers. Does anyone else want to pay into it? Most likely not. Or if you know that you only have six, tap for six. No one else is going to put that amount in
Mm-hmm.
because once again, they all see that you have landfall triggers galore,
Yeah, they don't want to risk it.
so they don't want to feed you more.
True. We have our Creeping Renaissance, 3 double green. You choose a permanent type, return all cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to your hand, and it also has flashback for 5 double green.
It's a
That's
fantastic card.
great in this, yeah. The fact that you can grab all your lands again, all your creatures again, like, yeah. And you'll have the mana to play them. Someone board wipes you, it's very easy to just be like, I take them all back.
Yeah, just bring them all back. I don't care. It's great for that. The next card we have here is a Cultivate for 2 in a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards, put one in the battlefield tap and the other in your hand, then shuffle.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yep, nice and basic.
Yeah. We've got our Farseek, 1 in a green. You search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain, put on the battlefield tapped. Then you shuffle. But simple, good ramp, good stuff.
More than likely, you'll use Farseek, Cultivate, or the next one, Kodama's Reach, which is, I might as well say it, for 2 in a green, Sorcery Arcane. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards, put one in your battlefield, tap, and the other in your hand, then shuffle. For these ones, and all, like the first land you're grabbing for majority of the time is probably going to be at least one mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, you're low on your mountains when we're scrolling, but
yeah, we only have 6 mountains because we have 13 forests, 11, or sorry, in 10 islands because we only have like 2 cards that use red.
you've got
Oh, sorry, 3
red
ones. So
4 red pips in the total deck, yeah.
yeah, so we
That's
don't
funny.
care, but we need at least one for our commander. So we need to grab at least that one red.
Yeah. You can produce it with 8, but you've only got 4 pips in total. 18 blue pips,
Yeah,
63 green.
yeah, kind of sad, but it is what it is.
Right? We are
All
on
right.
to our artifact section, the one you wanted to save.
Yeah.
Let me
So
get scrolling here.
was it? Oh, my turn, your turn. Oh, I did the Kahama, so it's your turn.
Okay, I will start us off with our first one. We have a Bow of Nylea. 1 green, attacking creatures you control have death touch. One of the most annoying cards to have hit the battlefield. You pay 1 in the green, which is again another great mana sink. You choose one. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. 2 damage to target creature with flying, or gain 3 life, or your top 4 cards from your graveyard onto the bottom in any order. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So just recur them into
So
the actual deck.
Yeah. So the Bow of Naya is really, really helpful in the deck because one, the Death Touch is really useful because we have a lot of token generation. The second thing is that once again we can gain the 3 life, but it's the last ability that or the choice that we care about, and that's um putting up to 4 cards from the graveyard to the bottom of your library. There is only going to be one that we will put in. Okay, more likely just one. Okay, well, we might put in 4, depending on it. But you'll see in 1, 2, 3, 4, in 5 cards down, we'll see why.
Okay.
So, the next card we have is Conduct of Worlds. It's 2 double green. You may play land cards from your graveyard, and you can tap it to choose target non-land permanent card from your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery.
I think I've always misread this card. It doesn't say that can be the only. Oh no, it is. It is okay. If you haven't cast a spell, okay, I have read it right.
Yeah.
So you can only one or the other. Okay, okay. Let's calm down.
Yeah. So that's like last resort, but for the most part, we want to play lands from the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at the same time, like when the ability says like choose target, like non-land permanent. Okay, fine. Like we save that for the very, very, very last thing that we do. That's fine.
Yeah. We also have a Crucible of Worlds, which has one of my favorite artworks in all of Magic, specifically because it reminds me of like the old animated Transformers movie. Every time I see it,
Oh,
I think of like the big Unicron planet. I think of like the Cybertron planet. I love the card. I loved that old movie way back in the day. I've watched that movie
yeah,
hundreds of times. And yeah, Crucible of Worlds is just a great card. 3 mana, you can play lands from your graveyard.
nice
It's
and simple.
it's so
I love
nice
it.
that it's come down in price.
Yeah, 100%. So
It was
nice.
so expensive for so
So they
long.
reprinted it a few times. So
It's still pretty expensive. Like, let's not get that twisted. It's still like a $26 card, but it's much cheaper than it was.
yes, 100%. Okay, next one here we have is Crystal Skull Izu Spyglass for 2 double blue. Legendary artifact. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play historic lands and cast historic spells from the top of your library. You can tap it to add a blue. Key thing here is historic. This is an annoying card. It doesn't like it won't go off that often, but it does go off from time to time.
Yeah. It's also nice that it's just also a mana rock.
Yeah,
Gives you the knowledge. Uh, we,
helpful. It's so helpful.
we've got our Dark Steel Plate, 3 colorless for an equipment indestructible. Equipped creature has indestructible, and it equips for 2.
Yeah.
If there can be
So
no victory,
we
then I will fight forever. Damn.
oh yeah. We need to find a way to keep Flubs on the board because we don't have heroic intervention. We can't surprise people with it.
True.
Okay, so this is the win con, the surprise that I wanted to do. That's Goblin Charbelcher for 4 mana. It's an artifact. Tap 3 mana, you tap it. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Goblin Charbelcher deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to target creature or player. If the revealed land card was a mountain, Goblin Charbelcher deals double that damage instead. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in any order.
I loved Charles Belcher people.
What? Yeah. So once this is an actual win con in the deck because you're turning through your deck so fast that you get to and you're filtering out all your lands or like as many lands as you can that you're dealing like 10, 12, even 16 damage.
Well, yeah, because you're
And
quickly going through your lands, right?
yeah. And once you get to the point where you're like, okay, I have 29 basics and I have like whatever lands left in the graveyard or whatever. Like you just count how many lands you have, right? It's like, okay, let's use the Bow of Nylea to throw a land back at the bottom and do this all over again.
Well, even once the Charles Belcher can hit, 5 or 6, and there's still the chance of it being a mountain, 12 damage on a tap is pretty rough. I
It's like, yeah, it's really rough. And sure, this is late game, but it's a like a possibility of a nuke. So you know how Aether Reservoir, everyone's like, oh, I can't do anything because like you control the nuke press button.
mhm.
Goblin Charbelcher is basically the same thing for you.
Yeah. Well, it's so risky to like take. I play Charles Belcher in a lot of cards and a lot of decks, specifically ones that have like Myria, Scholar of Antiquity, where all your Cheerio artifacts tap for mana. I generally just
Yeah,
leave this as I'm blasting everyone once a turn, no matter what.
yeah, and like this actually helps you figure out what you have left in your deck because let's say you only have like 4 lands left because you counted that you have like 33 lands on the field and in graveyard. So now you can go through and be like, okay, I do this once, I hit someone in the face, these cards were revealed and they go to bomb. The chances of these other cards coming up soon are increased or decreased. And like if you're looking for a certain card, now you know where it possibly is in the deck. So you're card counting at the same time.
The nice thing too about the Charbelcher is you put them back on the bottom in any order. So I always just stack every
Yes.
land at the bottom so I can keep rolling.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like I said, you are card counting now, not like blackjack card counting. Okay, no, you're literally counting your cards with me. Like, okay, this one's like gonna be like the 12th one from the top. Once we go through this one's gonna be like 20th. There's a chance that this one within the top like 16 is gonna, I will draw into it. Like, you are literally doing math, and you guys know how much I love doing math when it comes to playing Magic.
Yeah.
So
It's such a cool card. You don't see it come up enough. I love Charbelcher.
yeah, it's
We,
fun.
we also have your Problem Hammer of Nazan. 4 mana for a legendary artifact. When it enters under your control, it or another equipment, you can attach that equipment to a creature control. Equipped creature gets 2/0 and indestructible.
Good times, fun times. So, and like, we have so many problem creatures that you're gonna throw it down on something, and people are gonna be like sighing and be like, "Oh, why?"
Well, yeah,
Right?
exactly. This is going on like Avenger or something.
Yeah. Next one
Avenger,
we
Green
have
Warden.
is yeah. The next one we have here is Howling Mine for 2 mana. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if Howling Mine is untapped, that player draws a card.
It's a group hug deck. It's a group hug deck. It's been a group hug deck all along.
Yeah, totally, 100%. You're drawing extra cards. It doesn't matter.
I love Howling Mine so much. Howling Mine needs to stop being $4 with how much I like putting it in decks.
I know.
Make this a 50-cent rare. Come on. We've got a Mithril Coat, which is one of my favorite cards recently printed because it's good. 3 mana for a flash equipment, indestructible. When it enters, attach it to a legendary creature control. This might it's commander protection on a stick. And equipped creature has indestructible.
Yeah, great card. So good. Next one we have here is some top deck manipulation. We have Sensei's Divining Top for 1 mana. Tap 1. Look at top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order, and you can tap it to draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't go the infinite route with this and something like, Ethereum Artificer or whatever to make it like, cost like 0 to cast from the top of the library.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, I try not to go infinite.
Fair.
Yeah, but you can.
You definitely
Once again,
could, yeah.
you can.
And then we also have our Zurin Orb. You pay 0 mana, you sack a land, gain 2 life. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy again.
Easy peasy. So it's like, you need that mountain at the bottom for the Charbelcher, and you have the Bow of Nyla out. Okay, sacrifice that mountain, put that mountain on the bottom. All right, let it roll.
Well, again, too, just with how many lands in the graveyard. I mean, like, if you don't even have, like, if you just want to start drawing through the deck, you can just like sack 4 lands a turn and then gain, you gain your 8 life, play your 4, get all your triggers again. Yeah. Even more probably because you're sacking like things like the Courtyard.
Yeah.
Okay, let me count. I'm quickly. So Flubs is 1 extra land. Where else do we have? I'm just looking.
I think I counted it before at like 11 or something like that, maxed out.
Flubs, that's land from Grave. That's not an extra land. That's 2 extra lands with Azusa. Dryad is an extra land, so 4. Mina and Den is 5. Oracle is 6. We're looking pretty good already. Wayward is 7. Hothouse is 8. Exploration is 9. Rites of Flourishing is 10. Is it 10 lands we can play?
10, and then technically Undergrowth Recon if you have something in the graveyard.
Oh yeah, I guess that will just keep bringing lands back. Yeah. So yeah, playing 10 lands a turn is pretty mean. Pretty problematic when you've got so many land things and all those land triggers become draws.
100%.
Yeah. Flubs is a very cool one. Since the beginning of this, I had not even considered building this with 0 cost. And you're like, yeah, you could go 0 cost and just power draw through your deck. And my brain,
Yeah.
the entire game has been like, okay, well, obviously I need to get another Miria. I need to get another of these, like the artifact, like tapping things. We need another Urza for this. I'm sitting here building turbo Cheerios flubs now.
Yeah.
I like
Like
that
it.
idea.
Yeah, because that that literally is a very easy way. Like you can build a really easy budget CEDH Cheerios deck or eggs deck
Well, because
going in this direction.
that
Like,
draw there is crazy.
yeah, and that's the reason why, right? So you don't care. You're just you're just casting things like crazy for as little cost or for free, just so you can turn through your deck and get that fastest Oracle or Jace or Labman win.
I just
So
I just quickly pulled up my flubs. I made a silly flubs one too, and I was
yeah,
gonna say I'm shocked that you didn't put in Null Brooch, where you pay 2, discard your hand, counter target non-creature spell.
yeah.
I like it. I like the landfall route. I went a different one with mine finally.
There, like that is a really good card, but like you don't want like you're trying not to make the table too salty.
That's the problem. Is my flubs deck is definitely a salty flubs deck. It's silly.
Yeah, and there's other ways to build flubs too. Like there's people that have built it as a discard flubs. So you have like Hazred or you have like
Your
what's that
hellbent kind of
minute
things,
pirates? Sorry.
like your hellbent like themed things.
Yeah, stuff like that, right? So that's another fun route as well. There's a lot of ways you can play with flubs. Um, I just think the landfall is good just because you're trying to abuse the fact that you can play additional lands.
Having the landfall there available is wicked. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
unquestionably good.
yeah. So, and the fact that like if you have like no cards in hand, but you can play lands from your graveyard and you have the graveyard like the lands from the graveyard like Evolving Wilds or Broker's Hideout, where you just bring it into play, and then it sacks to grab something, and then Flubs triggers.
Hmm.
It's really really helpful. So, but yeah, you're literally going through your deck really fast in this one.
I really like this list. Like I think it's very cool. It seems really fun. It's a fun take on a landfall deck because you're like you said, you're digging so much for answers every turn. I like that.
Yeah, and the moment you bring out things to the battlefield, like you start off as like, okay, guys, like let's all be friends. Here's, like a Rights of Flourishing. That's fine. We all get to draw extra cards. We all get to draw extra lands. Yada yada yada. Let's all be fun. And then next thing you know, you have like so many lands, and we have mana sinks, so we can produce a bunch of extra stuff. We have things that like Spawning Grounds or Tarmogoyf's Nest, where we're tapping our lands to produce creatures. There's too many targets, and if you board wipe, you have to board wipe everything, like a Cyclonic Rift or something like that,
Boo.
right? Even if they do that, you have so many lands, you don't care. You just replay everything.
That is true. You can't cyclonic rift away the lands.
Yeah. So, and it's like, okay, like if they use Austerity's command and destroy everything, fine. Once again, you still have nothing but lands out there. You have probably double the lands as everyone else. So all you do is cast your commander again, and then your value engine is the commander at that point in time because they're just turning through things even faster, and you just don't care.
Yeah, Flubs is cool.
Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah, I like it. I say we wrap her there, but that's no. This is a cool deck. This seems very fun to play. I'm excited to see it.
thanks.
Let me roll my. We have outro music. There we go. Thank you guys for getting through the end of this episode. If you like what you see and you want to see more of our content, into the 99.com, everything's there. We've got articles, we've got posts, we've got lots of stuff there. So great spot to go check it out. More articles should be coming out pretty soon. So I know Thunder writes some great ones. I'm going to probably start writing them again because I'm lazy and haven't been. But yeah, there'll be more of those. Like, share, subscribe. It helps people find us. It's the cheapest way you can support us. It really does just help people see it, and that makes it so that we can go do more things. The more people see it, the more they're interested, the more we can kind of make it a thing we do. And yeah, if you want to go above and beyond, like, share, subscribe, because that's the minimum. It's the minimum, people. Please go over to Patreon. It's as little as $1. Pay kind of whatever you want, and just come hang out, chat with us, build decks with us. It's pretty fun. We got lots of amazing patrons and stuff. We'll probably shout patrons out next episode. Sounds good for that. But know that you guys are all shouted out in my heart for the moment. So yeah, I'll find a better system for doing that. Yeah, other than that, AI Armor sleeves, if you're building decks, I can't say enough good things about them. They've been really good to us. They've sent us tons of sleeves to like review and test. And I like working with them so much that we've got an affiliate link with them. So that'll be in there. Buy those sleeves. I can't say enough good things. They are my favorite sleeves at the moment. And I know, because I have a lot of sleeves. Yeah, other than that, as Sherman said earlier, if you want some cheaper cards, you don't want to buy the expensive ones, go to Abyss Proxy Shop. IT99 is a promo code. It really, it's really a good place. They're high quality proxies, lots of silly arts. And that's it. Song done.
All right. Laters, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.